Today I'm happy to be joined by Shannon Eaton of Eaton Livestock. He's one of the purchasers of cattle here in the Lloydminster area and across all of Alberta. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Shannon.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, Shannon, so the 2022 year was definitely not a preferable year for cattle producers and cattle buyers as well, as prices were quite low and just weren't very good considering how high inflation was raising there. So talk to me about just the 2022 year and leading into 2023 and some of the worries that purchasers and cattle producers like yourself had with at the beginning of the 2023 year.
Well, with 2022 having been quite a dry year, and there was a lot of volume had moved, the price of the cattle, it was on a bit of an incline, but as we hit the start of 2023, that's when the ball really got rolling and the prices of these calves really took off.
And so talk to me about what were some of the major factors for 2023 that led to such good prices, and as well why they were able to hold so good from early in 2023 all the way up to now, as prices have continued to stay at least very solid kind of as we finish up here in 2023.
Well, if we go to the cattle futures were on a steady incline all the way through the end of 2022 and in through 2023, where we saw on the futures for live cattle hit right at $2 a pound US, which would equate at that time to approximately 270 Canadian. So with the futures going so high, the live cattle, our cattle actually follow suit. So our slaughter prices were on an incline for a whole year, where we saw fat cattle in Western Canada hit 415, 417 dressed, which would equate to approximately 250 live. And so therefore with the cost of grain starting to slide, the price of the feeder cattle continued to incline.
And so finally, to start, let's look forward to now 2024. Are these prices going to continue to stay steady for our producers, and so that those producers that still have their cattle and are still producing beef for Canada and the world are still going to have good prices to finish out into 2024 and still be able to sell their cattle to the market and be able to continue their inputs, whether they're commercial farmers or purebred farmers?
Well, I think for the first half of 2024, we're going to see at these markets, we're going to see very small numbers. In talking to the owners and the managers of these cattle markets, their numbers are up 10 to 15%, but yet the cattle numbers in Canada are down 20%. So what that's telling me, and we saw this all fall, that none of the ranchers were holding any cattle back. It didn't matter if it was a 250-pound calf, it didn't matter heifers, they all went on the truck this fall. And so therefore, I think we're going to see a very shortage of feeder cattle from January into June. So I think with the grass market, I think in Western Canada, we're going to be a very solid market. Again, we saw so many slaughter cows hit the market this fall, that I think our cull cow market is going to be astronomically high. And I may be out to lunch, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw slaughter cows hit 170, 180 here in the spring and summer months.
Well, that's very good to hear for our cattle producers here in Lloydminster, of course, many in the Lloydminster and greater area. So thank you so much for all the information, Shannon, and we will definitely talk to you more about the cattle markets as we get into 2024. And thank you so much for talking to me today, and we've talked to you a few times throughout 2023. So it's been a pleasure, and we will have more cattle market and just cattle news in the year 2024.